But let's bring on board Samir Arora and find out what he's making of the market right now. Samir, hi, good morning. Good to have you on the show as always. I think first things first, everyone just wants to know what your conversation with Ray Dalio was all about.
Actually, I didn't tell him that I had read the book, which is
Okay.
an expose on him. I only told him I read these books on principles and then I told him that the book on cycles was a bit complicated. And there was another person with him who said only a bit. So I said, no, I was being courteous. It's very complicated. So I had not met him before, and it was just a chance encounter at the airport.
And what a pleasant one. No Taylor Swift conversations
No, no,
because
actually,
that's what everyone wants to know.
correct, correct. But it's just that I get to meet all these guys sometimes just like this.
Yeah.
But it's not that some of them, like Paul Tudor Jones, is a bit of my friend, but others are, you just meet them at some place or the other. But you have to, first of all, instantly recognize them and then
Yeah.
instantly bring up. That's all. That is the highlight more than anything else.
Yeah,
And then be a
absolutely.
bit shameless in asking for a photo.
That you mastered, I'm sure, by now.
Because many of these fund managers, they all think that they are big heroes, so they are shy in some sense. I am not shy.
Yeah, you're not shy for sure. But anyway, here's to more chance meetings. What's with the market right now, Samir? And we were just looking at the data points. It's been a very slow grind, but the small cap index nonetheless has fallen 10% from its peak. You think there's more to
which
go?
is which is not a lot, and it has
Yeah.
to be more. If you look at it, that what happened in 2018. So I just on Bloomberg saw 2 3 days ago what was the performance of the mid cap and large cap and all these indices from say December 2019. Go back 10 years. So go to 2009 December or something. And in those 10 years, you will see that small caps had actually maybe slightly underperformed the large cap indices, even though there were two big phases where small caps did very well, which is 2014 and 2017. If you end all these things at the end of 2017, it looks, wow, small caps are doing so well. And then one year comes 2018 and everything goes away. Bottom line is that it has never been the case anywhere in the world that small caps systematically beat the large caps by maybe more than half, 1%. Even that is not easy. So whenever the outperformance is 15, 20% a year in some phase, you know that by the time the cycle is over, it has to go away. Because the only difference between this round of small caps and previous years is because of the kind of buyers, that is the absolute retail guys. Because I see on Twitter, because Twitter thinks that I follow all these things, so they give me related content. Is that people say, oh, this is only 20p, so how can it be expensive? This is what they've been used to, that a 20p is supposed to be very, very reasonable for unknown small companies getting 100 crore order from somewhere where they'll make maybe 2 crore profit. All these things they have to give up. There's nothing they can do. Some excuse will be found by the market to correct.
So you think we're already in that 2018 kind of scenario? This is
No,
going
no,
to
no.
be the year of
2018 was a
small
bit
cap
aggressive. So
correction?
2018, no, 2018 was a bit high, and there is no need to immediately associate with the 18, where there was a capital gains cut, and then there was a equally sharp maybe rally in 17. But it has to underperform, let's say gracefully, if nothing else. But either way, how does it matter whether it's graceful correction or a sharp correction? Because if you know that broadly the outperformance is unrealistic and not in line with any form of history, uh, provided the cycle is over. If you see in the middle of the cycles, it would have been similar outperformance in previous phases also. So it's basically a not an avoid, but a very, very over scrutinized thing now to buy a small cap.
And I think the messaging from the regulator yesterday as well,
Was not
we
possible.
had
Correct.
Madhvi Puri Buch as well speaking about. I think the writing is pretty much on the wall. But, Samir, irrespective of all of that, what's surprising is the kind of appetite that's still there for, small and mid caps.
But
I mean,
actually,
people
that is
just are
okay.
so greedy right now.
No, the point is that, people have to spend time and money on learning. So you can learn by just quickly losing a lot of money also. It's all learning. So everything should be taken positively. You can learn either by looking and reading, or you can learn by yourself doing it, when knowing that in previous hundreds years of cycles, these things have not happened. But many people insist on learning on their own, which is okay. So lose a little bit. It's part of learning. Nothing wrong with that also. Or you can go on the net and just see previous cycles and Indian cycles, US cycles. You can see every cycle in the world, and you can see in which phase was it outperforming and whether it sustained at a big picture level. There will always be some stocks which will graduate in front of you, and therefore you can't take individual stories and say, see, I bought Amazon and it went up or something because it was small cap. See, at an index level, at a market level, and it is very apparent that you cannot have systematic significant outperformance or even literally any outperformance. You can see in US if you want. Go and see the US index before 19, you'll see nearly same performance. And there it's a mirror image of India, that the large caps since 20 have massively outperformed. And therefore, although it's not working yet, people are talking about buying equal weight index and the Russell 2000, which is buying the smaller caps or an equal weight index, completely opposite of India, where the large caps have done badly and the small caps have done well. But you see, any period before, broadly they converge. So what is so different this time that in US is that way? Because there are 7 stocks doing well, which actually have more justification than the Indian small caps doing so well, I think.
Or maybe, Samir, they can just tune into ET now and watch you as you dole out your advice and take an investment philosophy. But that aside, does that theory really hold true when it comes to those PSU banks as well, that maybe now the party's over?
No, PSU banks might have a little bit more of a story because the numbers are there, and it was that whether the PE should be 6 or 5 or 4. So there is something basic there. And I, by the way, separately think I am very bullish on the budget. So let me give you my logic. And part of that is the PSU angle. So first is that the Prime Minister has said that we want a, what is it, transformational budget or something like that. He has said it openly, quoted directly. Second, they said in this budget that next year's deficit, fiscal deficit, will be reduced. I mean, they'll at least target, or I don't know whether it's a commitment, by 1%, nearly 1%. Now, for both these things to be consistent, you can't reduce 1% fiscal deficit and still make the investment. So let's say you first have to reduce 1% fiscal deficit or point X percent. And that means 25, $30 billion you have to save on your spending, either from subsidies, which can't be the case, or on your capital capex. And if you do that, there cannot be any transformational budget. Therefore, the only way it works is that you take 1 or 2 PSUs or 2 or 3 PSUs. I don't know whether you formally announce their names or not, but you just sell them off completely. This government in the current term, not even in some previous term, tried to privatize BPCL, and then there were talks about Concor. So you take any of these 2, 3, and you sort of completely sell them off or whatever percent, and then the rest of the PSUs get even more re-rated, and then you sell some of those. Then that money you can use in bigger investment or whatever, and still achieve some part of the current account of the fiscal deficit reduction. Otherwise, it's not consistent. All these lines are independent. You cannot reconcile them, according to me, any other way than to do this. Therefore, for now, my theory is that all these issues on whether we are bullish on the market, whether we are bullish on PSUs, we shall decide the day of the budget or after the budget. Not now, because right now I'm going in bullish till that day. Now, there's one issue which can blow this all up and bring back 2018, which is if you try to play with the capital gains tax on equities, that it should be 2 year holding, all these things you want to do, please do it next year. Don't do it in the middle of the first budget, which blows away all the good things and the transformation that the government wants to bring in next time. So please do that later. Otherwise, it'll all get dominated by the fact that the tax has been cut. And in 2018, one big reason was for the market to fall as much and for the small caps to fall 50, whatever, 60, 40, whatever percent they fell, is by changing the capital gains tax. So other than that one angle, I think it'll be a good budget, and I hope that is not brought into the first budget and blowing away all the good. things that
Samir,
we'll
why
be
would you even put that thought out there in the
No, no,
universe?
that thought
Are
is
you
there according to me.
anticipating something like
No,
that?
no, no, no. That is the only angle which is been there, and I want to. We have to say, please don't do that. Do it next year. They have do it whichever, but don't do it now and spoil the good mood that we are planning to have.
Okay. So since you skipped to budget, I'm assuming election is like given and it's all in the price.
No, what I meant was, no, it's because of the election that you can have a good budget because then all this. What I meant was there is no point when you are asking whether about the market now, there's no point in thinking this month, that week, when there is one big event for which logically it'll be big simply because the government itself or the prime minister himself is saying transformational budget. So if it's a transformational budget, why should I today feel that I want to be today negative, then tomorrow I'll again become positive 15 days before the budget? You might as well go with that. And then on that day, decide properly whether, how much the market is up and what the announcements are and whether they are credible or you want to be bullish on them or not. But right now, why should we? The world is also not bad.
Right.
It's not that the world is bad and we are too strong
Absolutely.
so that we should back off. It's okay. We are broadly, actually, maybe underperforming.
Absolutely. That does make sense, Let's not bother about today, tomorrow. Let's just wait for the budget. But, I'm seeing your tweet that is just a couple of hours ago that you tweeted on ITC because that's the bat sale. You've rightly tweeted that first you were expecting the government to actually sell stake in ITC. That's what we were pushing for. Ulta hi ho gaya. That's what you have written as well.
That was
So
in the
I think
Suti days. In the Suti share sales, I used to tweet a lot saying it is easy to sell this one. Government should not be seen as owning cigarette stocks. Therefore, we used to think at that time that BAT may be interested. But now it's the other way around. But
see
you have to
now.
give credit to this market. This
Yeah.
market has become so big that knowing that there'll be a 2 billion or whatever dollar sale, today morning somebody came and immediately bought ITC. I mean, amazing. People have too much money, I think, these days, that for 1% down, they want jumping in and buying today, knowing that there'll be a 2 billion dollar kind or whatever size sale. But people don't care because they think that there is so much money in the market, which may be the case. But we say that we have to treat it only about our money or our funds money, not so much how much the market has. And I would never jump in 1% down on a 2 billion type sort of unexpected sale.
Absolutely, but Samir, do you think that maybe so much money is there in the market? People are investing. 1% downfall. Also, you're seeing so many people buying the large cap names. Is that a strategy that would, something that retail investors are maybe looking at to buy these large cap names?
They are, but I mean, you cannot do like this. If there's a $2-3 billion sale by a promoter, you don't jump in within 1 second. At least that day come. Maybe like it happened in Indigo, that after the sale is done, it goes up, but you don't jump in unless somebody thinks it's being announced tonight and therefore you are in the end game already or something. I don't do all these things. I will wait because many of the times this overhang in a stock goes on for a long time. It's only in a few stocks which are in some particular growth phase that people celebrate the fact that somebody is selling, but not in every stock every minute. That's what I mean. It's too much of a money flow thing also, I would say. Why everything is good news? Everything is not good news in life.
So you're still waiting by Paytm, Samir, patiently, or have you exited that holding?
No, I'm not exiting. We haven't bought more, but I'm not exiting because it looks to me that at this valuation, which is some $3 billion, including 9,000, I think, crores of cash. And if you type on Google and say phone pay, how much bigger do you think it is? Phone pay was valued in, I saw recently in Jan 23, which is after the correction of 22 at $12 billion. I don't think phone pay is 4 times bigger. It also doesn't have a bank. And it's just one more. And it cannot go public till Paytm does better, just like Swiggy could not go public till Zomato did well or is doing well. So there is no need here. The game is, oh, if I have this stock, some mutual fund investor will say so that the mutual fund guys can decide in India. But broadly, I don't think the idea every time is to just remove a stock so that nobody remembers that you bought it. We bought it and it has gone wrong. But for me, at least in my offshore fund, not so wrong because I bought it at about 500 and similar time you bought some Zomato, which is a 4 times. That is how this business is. It is not some stock to quickly distance from yourself so that nobody remembers that we have it. It's not like that. If it is okay, we will keep it and then see how it goes.
Absolutely. But anywhere you've exited in the last month, month and a half, or so far this year?
Sorry?
Have you exited any of the positions across the board so far
Oh,
this year?
across the board, there might be, of course. We have whole day we have to keeping ourselves busy. I thought talk about Paytm. No, Paytm we have
Paytm.
not exited.
Within small and mid caps.
Small and mid caps we have sold 2-3 names. Yeah, just to reduce its content.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
exited fully then.
No. Those we have removed completely. Some 1% we had, because some money had been made. But if there is even a small correction in small caps, see, every stock is not only being driven by its fundamentals. It's being driven by its fundamentals plus the fact that India is doing well, or in some cases the small cap is doing well. Unlike others, I am shameless enough to admit all that. For everybody else, it is 100% fundamental bottom up. It is. But the reason our NAVs are going up also is because these stocks are in India, and in some cases because they are small cap in India. And so some of them we have removed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bizarre world we're living in. I mean, you're talking about equities. Look what's happening in Bitcoin. Gold is an all-time high. I mean, across asset classes, everything's doing well.
Correct. So that's why I was saying there's no
Yeah.
need to overly worry right now. Let's go bullish. Otherwise, till budget and then evaluate properly for the next 6-9 months what to do. Right now, we have been bullish and let's continue other than the small changes here and there. By the way, the money that we raised from selling the small caps, same day we bought 2 or 3 large caps, which we already had, just added to them instead of keeping the small caps.
Point. Okay, Samir, great to have you on the show as always. Good chatting with you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, that's